Please return to the dais so we can resume the meeting. I'm just waiting for a quorum. Okay.
Whatever.
Did we have a motion to accept the bills?
Tuesday, Wednesdays are always bad.
Roll call. Okay, we're ready for the roll call on the bills list.
I just had a couple questions.
Okay, okay. All right, we'll open up the council's discussion. Franz? Okay, we're continuing with the discussion on the bills list.
Check, please.
What page?
Page 7.
New prints?
Yes.
So you put various locations, and I think it would be helpful if you past took place in.
Yes, it's part of their service contract agreement, and there's got to be a number. I'm guessing 5, 6, 7, or 8 different locations. It's actually on their invoices when they submit it to us. We can, I mean,
You can let me know.
yeah, I definitely can
I'll
send.
give you an assignment tonight. 143 and 144 William Street, one of those houses.
Yes.
You got a sinkhole.
Yes, I already spoke to the contractor about that. I saw it, yep.
Okay, does anyone else have any questions on the bills?
I do.
Kevin?
Page number 2, under the police department, 23-01962. GTBM Incorporated e-tickets, could we explain that? Page 2, police department, GTBM Incorporated.
Is that for our electronic tickets, the e-tickets? The e-tickets, that's our lease agreement for April through June? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
And when you say e-tickets, what does that mean? That's the
In the car.
parking
Yep.
tickets, tickets in general?
That's the police, what they use in their car for when they give a ticket to somebody.
It's not like a.
So it's a quarterly.
Yeah.
Okay. And I noticed on DPW that we do the pump stations. Have we thought about doing training for that? Because it seems to be a consistent thing, but it doesn't seem to be an hourly long thing. I just thought that maybe we could send some of our guys for training. That would help us down the road for the pump stations.
This is not the lockout, tagout training or the, so this is, all right. Yeah,
We'll talk
yeah,
offline.
the answer is yes.
Okay.
Okay, does anyone else have any questions? Okay, thanks, Michael. Roll call?
Councilman Kopp? Councilman Rosenzweig?
Yes.
Councilman Wilson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wasatski? Yes. Council President Marin?
Yes. Okay. We're now moving to comments from the governing body and the city manager. Mayor Wiles?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Ms. Maureen Lorenz, thank you for joining us, and with your son as well, I understand. Our fire chief left. Thank him for actually coming earlier today, physically himself as well. Ladies and gentlemen, with heat advisories, we remind residents that the Englewood Public Library at 31 Engle Street is an official cooling center. The library is open Monday to Thursday, 9 in the morning till 9 at night, Friday from 9 to 5, and Saturday, Sunday from 1 to 5. Please use that if you need to take refuge. I visited the Englewood Post Office multiple times recently in response to resident concerns about the condition of the building on Engle Street. It is a mess. While I have not received any official response, I paid visits to the postmaster, I put in many phone calls, Somebody who is an official there informed me that a regional supervisor recently visited, took photos of the preparations of improvements that are supposed to be made. Again, it's a concern that I have. Manhattan congestion pricing update. The state of New Jersey filed a lawsuit seeking to block the MTA's congestion pricing plan, which should have a major impact on commuters from New Jersey as well as environmental and economic impact on communities. I would like to thank our Governor Phil Murphy, our Congressman Josh Gottheimer, and other officials who are working to prevent this plan. It could have major damaging consequences to Englewood and the surrounding areas. Also, our city historian David Coleman received a $15,000 grant from the New Jersey Council for Humanities for his Englewood Makes History project, an amazing initiative. We ask people to dig in deep to your photos, documents, and please help him preserve the real-life stories from our community. This past week, we lost a legend in Englewood. The legendary musician and former Englewood resident Tony Bennett passed away, an amazing performer and one of the many noteworthy talents to contribute in our city's deep history in the arts, along with his neighbors here, Dizzy Gillespie. Tony Bennett and his son Day led the early groundwork for what has become Bergen Pack. In his younger days, Tony Bennett served our nation during World War II, fighting personally in the Battle of the Bulge and helping to liberate a concentration camp. His accomplishments throughout his lifetime make us proud to consider him our friend, our neighbor. I had the privilege of awarding him a key to the city many years ago. Our downtown will be having some special added attention this weekend. The North Jersey Chamber of Commerce is bringing the Main Street Pops Artisan Market to Englewood for a special two-day shopping event called Sizzling Sidewalks. We will feature high-quality artisans and makers selling their handsome goods alongside our local retailers along Palisade Avenue near Dean Street this Friday, July 28 and 29 from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. There will be free metered parking, so please come support our local businesses. There will also be a very special World Hepatitis Day this Thursday, July 28th from 11 to 2 in front of Dolce de Leche on West Palisade Avenue. I urge you to get tested and to take this seriously. For the rest of the week's events and others, feel free to join us on the library Coffee with the Mayor session every Friday morning at 11 a.m. It stays there if you don't have a chance during business hours to see it. I want to wish everybody good health and a wonderful rest of your summer. Thank you.
Councilman at Large Cobb.
Good evening, and thank you for coming out. I just want to address a couple of things. You know, obviously from a historical perspective, today is Emmett Till's birthday, number one, and number two, Mr. Wilby will see I did my homework. This 175 years emancipation of the West Indies. Absolutely. So congratulations to those folks with that. We recently had a meeting on Thursday to talk about affordable housing. And there's been a lot of concern in this community about it because we did a mailing and I guess people processed it the way they process things. But I want to assure them that we're putting the proper guardrails up to protect everybody in this event. This is a settlement that is being dictated by the courts. We have opportunity to fix whatever we can fix through the master plan, which we will do, and which everybody will be invited to participate in and provide your comments on. This is about how we control zoning. But this is why I always tell people, come to the council meetings and participate. This is your opportunity to learn, to hear what's going on, to see how your tax dollars are being spent and how you're being represented and how you can hold people accountable. So if anybody has any questions about this affordable housing process, there's a tab on the city website with a lot of information, and if you have questions, I'm sure your council people would be more than willing to entertain your questions and get answers for you with that. But I think it's important, you know, as we go through this. And the master plan is done every 10 years, so we have to do it in 2024. It has to be done. So I think about what needs to be done in your ward, in your neighborhood, and things, the challenges that we have. and come up with them and contact the council people with your suggestions and inputs, issues or concerns, because I think it's very important. You have a voice, don't give it away, use it, and hold people accountable. Stay safe, check the website, as the mayor said, for the cooling stations that are around here, and if you know people who are struggling with that, check on your neighbors. We don't do enough of that good stuff. And also be aware, there have been some incidences with people's houses and things of that, break-ins and things of that nature, so be vigilant, be observant of what's going on. I know a lot of people have cameras or whatever, so for your neighbors that don't, look out for them as well, and thank you for coming out.
Dr. Rosenzweig?
Hi, thank you. And once again, I acknowledge the presence of the Placide family. I mean, obviously, we're still waiting for the report from the Attorney General, and now with the civil lawsuits, it's very limited on what we can say. But I hope you have peace and comfort in the coming years. Mayor, congratulations on an excellent fireworks the other night. We haven't had a chance for public comments since then, and it was a very enjoyable time, as always. So thank you for arranging that, and at no taxpayer expense as well. I mentioned on this briefly earlier today, there were significant flooding throughout the state, and it's very happy not to hear any reports from Englewood. I think we were spared some of the worst of the storm, but also the efforts of our city manager to help mitigate it, and again, we took another big step tonight for flood mitigation. So I'm very happy not to get any news in the past few weeks, as we've had difficulty with weather. I had the privilege of attending the graduation of the Junior Police Academy. It was a very, very nice ceremony with the young men and women there. So thank you for having me there. I hope everyone has an enjoyable rest of summer, and I look forward to seeing you in the fall.
Thank you. Dr. Wasansky?
Hi, good evening. So I recently had the pleasure of meeting the new school superintendent, and I'm hoping that this council works closely with the Board of Education for the benefit of the children, especially in terms of programs and recreation. And I just wanted to alert people that from August to October, we plan to distribute a community survey for Parks and Recreation. We will make an announcement, I guess, in August when it's online, and we'll be using community groups to help get out the word. So just be alert to that. And I want to wish everybody a wonderful rest of the summer if I don't see you.
Councilman Wilson?
Good evening. First, giving honor to God. Without him, I wouldn't be here. I understand that we need improvements all across the city. And a lot of things happen that the public doesn't know about. And like the councilman at large said, you gotta be involved. If you see something and we don't know about it, it makes it pretty difficult for us to correct it. When you see something and we follow up, it may not appear that we're doing anything because it doesn't automatically happen right away. But through your vigilance and us following through, we can work this thing together. So we need you to keep your eyes open to share and inform anything that may happen. As I spoke a while back, that there was reports of shots fired. And I can't stress enough that that's a reportable offense. I don't want anyone that can hear me or that's here this evening to think that it's okay to hear shots fired and not report. The only difference from an incident is that that incident isn't at your door. So to prevent that, let's stop it at somebody else's door. Let's not wait till you're involved with parking, signage, flooding, whatever your issue may be. It's probably a universal situation, and we can get to the bottom of it. So, my constituent had started a program for the parks, and I happen to be on that board. And I think it's important that once you hear or see the survey come out about your input to the parks, this is the opportunity. Just like I called Franz up to tell him that I don't think it's appropriate for inadequate equipment. This is the opportunity before the door gets closed. We don't want to say, oh man, I didn't know they were doing this. I didn't know they were building that. These are the opportunities that we want to be heard. We want to hear you. And unfortunately, the last council meeting, put us at a disadvantage. I thought there'd be some more transparency for you guys, and it was decided that the questions will be answered on the 8th. What I would like for you guys to do is not forget your concerns, press on for an answer, because it's very important that you receive answers to your questions. Hold our feet to the fire. So I just want to say thank you for coming out. For those who are listening, thank you for listening. For those of you who are pool people, we've been working hard and diligently to not utilize the porta potties. I'm happy to report that we have the bathrooms open at our bathroom facilities. And so help us by monitoring it, making sure no one destroys what we work so hard to provide for our community. So thank you for coming out, and have a blessed summer.
Thank you, Kevin. I would like also to congratulate the mayor on a terrific display. Very exciting. I was with, I believe, Councilman Rosenzweig, Dr. Rosenzweig and I were at the Junior Police Academy, which is always a lovely event, and many more young women were there than had been there before, which made me very happy to see. I recently saw a program on something called wilding. Now, I had thought wilding meant something totally different. They're talking about restoring property and allowing property to grow naturally and not fill it with houses and concrete. So it sort of coincided with the almost completing the process of purchasing 47 Brook Avenue, which to me is the beginning of a program that should continue long after I'm here. I am very excited about that, because the idea of Englewood acquiring properties that are flood-prone, turning them into parks, sanctuaries, putting in water retention systems to alleviate flooding. And I think, I'm not sure who mentioned it just now, that we did not suffer any flooding recently, which to us is a wonderful achievement that our city manager had a great deal to do with. Anyway, once again, very proud of that acquisition of the property, and I would like to personally thank Mr. Milton Davis, who is the person we dealt with in setting up the purchase of this property. I really can't wait to see what we're going to be able to do with this. I'm also very excited about our traffic light that is still not up and running, but the traffic light that has been worked on for several years by many people, trying to encourage the county to give us a traffic light in the center of the intersection at Hudson Avenue and Knickerbocker Road. There have been so many accidents there, and hopefully we're going to be much better off because of it. And as I said, there are many people that were involved in that for several years. Since I started on the council, that has been an issue. And when it finally happened, it was a delight to see government working well. Anyway, I also thank all of you for being here. I hope the summer is not as miserable in terms of weather as it has been, and we will be seeing each other soon. Thank you. City Manager Robert Hoffman.
Thank you, Council President, and good evening. The city is putting together a list of questions and answers that are related to the affordable housing settlement. The questions and answers will be posted on the city's website. We're going to be vetting the answers with our affordable housing attorney. So please check on the tab, as Councilman Cobb let you know before, for updated information that we have. So the updated information will be on the button under affordable housing. This Friday, the county will be closing the West Forest Avenue Bridge, and they are going to be completing repair work on that bridge. So the bridge will be closed for the whole day. This is a planned closing, and the county wants to make sure the bridge has all of the repairs completed prior to the Jones Road Bridge being closed by the state. So the police will be sending out the notifications for that, but we found out about that today. The city is also going to be initiating a search for a director of public works, because our current director, Mr. Edward Jenkins, will be retiring at the end of the year. So we will be beginning a search for a new director, and we're also going to be looking for a deputy city engineer to assist City Engineer Volsi with the number of projects that are underway. And as you saw tonight on the agenda, we approved several projects, and Franz was knee-deep in all of them, and we're looking forward to getting him some help. We're looking at there's going to be another heat wave coming, so make sure, as has been talked about previously, that you're able to cool down, and one of the ways to cool down is to go visit some of our pools, one of our 2 pools. So please make sure you're helping yourself and helping your family. And I wanted to thank the governing body for funding the initiatives in this year's budget, and several of them were adopted tonight. And I'm looking forward to making sure that the projects get underway and that they get completed. And this past June 28th was our first 4th of July. My wife and I came to see the fireworks here, and it was a wonderful time. So nicely done, Mayor. So thank you. And that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to close this part of our meeting and open up the public session. Once again, I'd like to remind you, we need your name and your address. You have 3 minutes, and questions will be answered at the end of the questioning period. And we're going to try to maintain order the best we can.
If you're going to maintain order, then you should have never said talk about the 3 minutes, because you gave Frank Hutto 20 minutes last week.
Laura?
Laura Vogel, 318 Marlborough Road. Thank you, Mr. Hoffman, for dealing with the flood mitigation. But I think it's also important, though, that any new developing that is done in this city have a certain amount of permeable surface. That's going to be extremely important as well. And I think that's some of our problems on Palisade Avenue for sure. Speaking of houses that are in poor condition, there is a house on the corner of Manor and Hudson.
We've reported.
You know that house. Okay, it's been abandoned for many years. The windows, the bay windows are about to come out. I mean, and a bank owns it, I believe. I looked at the note on the door, but I hope that that can be taken care of. It's a shame, a beautiful home that just, I don't know what happened. But also in the paper this week, and I'll read just a section. New Jersey Transit, well, I'm going to start by saying it wouldn't be a council meeting without Laura Vogel talking about transportation. So New Jersey Transit's Board of Directors approved a $34.9 million contract Wednesday night to do the final design of what is now called the FIFA, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, soccer system between Secaucus Junction and MetLife Stadium, which officials said must be working by the spring of 2026. For those of you who weren't on the council then, when we were really trying to deal with the transportation issue, and Loretta Weinberg was involved, and we were going to all these transportation meetings, all we heard was, we don't have the money. We don't have the money. This is really ridiculous. 34.9 million. Read the article, because they're talking about 7 miles. 37 miles. And, you know, why spend $1 million when you can spend 34.9 million? So it's extremely upsetting. And I would really like to see this council take the initiative on this transportation issue. We're a city, we call ourselves a progressive city. How could we not have good transportation to New York, to our downtowns? Do you know what it takes to get to the airport, Newark Airport, through public transportation? It's impossible if you don't want to drive. Now, the airport is charging $80-something a day to leave your car there, if you can afford that. So please, take the initiative, step up on this, please. Thank you.
Thanks, Laura.
Amy Bullock, Howland Avenue. In regards to the survey that will be coming out regarding parks and recreation, I'm going to ask that we not just look at making the survey available online. Not everyone in the community has access to online services. We learned this during COVID when the schools had to provide hotspots for children to do schoolwork. Some of our elderly are not computer savvy, so I would suggest that paper copies be distributed to all of the houses of worship. Reach out to the school district, ask if they can share it on their email distribution list. There are 3,000 kids in the Englewood Public School District. You can touch a lot of families and get a lot of information back. The last survey that was done around McKay Park had 124 responses, which is not an adequate sampling to get a 95% positive predictive value in a city of our size. You need somewhere around 320 responses. So I'm asking that we explore all the different avenues of making sure people are able to participate. In regards to Professor Coleman's project, I just want to point out the project is focusing on the story of the African American community in the 4th Ward and the immigrant community in the 3rd Ward. It is not a global Englewood project in that it's focusing on these 2 specific communities. So anybody that has information that can help tell the story of these 2 communities, please reach out to Professor Coleman. In regards to this waiving of permit fees for recreational programs, I would like to know, what are these recreational programs? Are they nonprofit organizations or are they for-profit organizations? What are the fees charged to residents to participate in these programs? Because if these organizations are for-profit organizations, we should not be waiving fees because they are making money off of our residents using our fields and resources with a waived fee that my tax dollars pay to maintain. So I think we need to kind of revisit that process. And lastly, Councilman Rosenzweig brought up a couple of meetings ago during the discussion about the overlay zones that they kept Liberty School out of the overlay zone because we wanted that for the community. The RFP was issued in February of 2022. Responses were selections were supposed to be made on or before July 28th of 2022, at which time neither of the proposals were accepted and the council was supposed to be reworking the RFP. We are now a year at the 1-year anniversary of that, and we've heard nothing about what is going on with Liberty School. So since Councilman Rosenzweig has acknowledged that Liberty School is for the community, my question is, when are we starting the planning for a community center to be at Liberty School, which is for the community, and that's why it was kept out of the overlay zones. Thank you.
Leroy Campbell, 287 Tenafly Road. I have several items here on my list, starting with Mr. Hoffman concerning Resolution 248B. And my question is, you guys did an excellent job of cleaning up that property, But the concern is, was there an analytical done on that material that was on the property? Because if one was not done, we doesn't know whether the material was contaminated or not. That's number one. Mr. Bailey, Harco Industry, is there a closure? Is there a resolution to that purchasing of that property from Harco Industry? Councilman Lisa Wiskowski and City Manager, I think you should take a look at the curbing on East Palisades Avenue from Woodland down, precisely in front of Englewood School. If you look at that area, when it rains, the water is not running against the curb. The water is running on the grassy knoll area. I think you should take a serious look at that. That curbing probably needs to be redone in order for the water to be able to run down the hill into the drainage system. And Miss Marion, my name is Leroy Campbell. I also serve as Deacon Campbell of the Community Baptist Church here in Englewood. I'm also the Chief Financial Officer of the Community Baptist Church here in Englewood. We don't have a voting place for the money. We have a voting place because we were approached and asked to do so.
I know that.
Asked to do so. Let me finish, because all of you are going to answer when I'm done. Let me finish. We were asked to do so. We were asked to do so because of the concern for the elderly that lives in the neighborhood, that they will be able to walk and come and vote. I don't understand why you are so against of a voting place being positioned in churches. Thank you.
Well, it is a black church, so that's the answer to your question. Yeah, Rick Wilby, Englewood, New Jersey. You know, we're hearing a lot of things now coming out of Florida where they're saying that slavery was something that slaves benefited from. I come up here all the time and I see a lot of people's racism on display. Hypocrite, pious Nazis, okay? But this is what the Bible says about people like you, Judy, because I'm not going to lean on my own understanding tonight. I'm going to read it right out the scripture so you know who you are. And remember, I told you so, because everything I say is not from me, it's from my Father that sent me. Ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. In your case, the mother of it. Here's another scripture you should take into consideration. Since you people like to do things and change the laws and change the rules and think that you're going to get away with it. But you don't get away with anything. Here's what the Bible says is going to happen to you. Since you think you could change the rules and change the laws, jump into, separation of church and state when it works for you, then it doesn't work for you. You want to talk about other people's faith, right? Because that's what you're doing. So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood defileth the land. And the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. That means that you don't get away with anything. Everything you do is going to be required of you. Ezekiel 37:10 says, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquities of his father. Right now in a place called Israel, you have the separation of church and state, supposedly this democracy. And you have this guy Netanyahu that says, well, we don't want to listen to the Supreme Court. And people could go read Torah all day. They don't have to go into the military service. Why don't you talk about that separation of church and state? Why don't you talk about other people occupying other people's lands and killing them for it and saying we have the right because somebody chose us? I'm sick and tired of you people trying to act like you're beyond reproach and you're not. You're the biggest criminals on the planet.
Dean Buncombe. I'm the owner of 261 West Palisade Avenue. I guess my question was, I heard there was like some summonses that were issued, which we never received as property owner. There was no testing on the soil, and I spoke to Walter regarding having testing done, and this was the process of us cleaning up this material that was illegally dumped on the property. Walter gave me no time to get this done. So it's not, you can't just move on a property and take dirt out without getting it tested, without it getting approved into a facility to move it to. So there's no tickets. I asked for tickets from the company that did the removal. They couldn't provide nothing. No tickets, no manifests, no nothing. So I'm just like blinded at how this was done without my permission, without no notification, without nobody telling. I don't even have a bill to how much this cost. The guy told us $25,000. He has no tickets, no evidence that he even removed the dirt. It's just a crime. So I don't know how this was done by city management without any proper notification. I had not one notice in the mail. Only notice I had in my mail was my tax bill. That was it. So I don't see how this was ever done. So they have to show me any proof that there was notice that this had to be done within a certain amount of time. And the gentleman behind me made a good sense, like, where's the analyticals that this dirt was tested, that it was removed properly? So it was illegally dumped. The town didn't say nothing about it being illegally dumped and then address that, but then they want to attack the owner of the property and have it illegally removed is like blindfolded to me. So I just want to address and ask how that's what's possibly done and see where it goes from there. Thank you. But I definitely will be taking this up with my lawyer and pursuing this to the full extent of the law. All right, thank you. Have a good day.
Martha Morales, Honeck Street. Now is my time to speak. Thank you. Again, thank you, Council Cobb and Kevin Wilson, for addressing the issue of Honeck Street. I want to just be a little bit broad about Florence, Grant, Forest Avenue in that area. During the past 20 years, that area was neglected. What I have seen now is that homeowners are taking pride in being homeowners, and that area is being revamped. I can see homeowners cleaning their homes, making adjustments, cleaning, and it's totally different area what it was 20 years ago. Mr. Trustee can vouch for that. But this is just the beginning. If we just go Honeck Street, we cannot stop there. We have to go Banker Street, we have to go into that industrial area, borderline Leonia. Companies and businesses need to take accountability for maintaining the facade of those buildings and keeping it clean, because if anything, that is the entrance to our city. Everybody sees there when they come Route 4, and then they see all this garbage there, so then they just keep dumping garbage. And as far as, I just want to say something about transparency on the agenda. If something is admitted, I understand it's human error, but do not disregard the public for asking. I think in essence, you know, we're here and we're not that savvy or knowledge, in some ways ignorant of certain things, ordinance, you know, when they get adopted. So I think if just be a little bit easy, especially me, I'm just learning this whole thing. I was involved in schools and being a parent, PTA, so all this is new to me. So if I ask questions, please just be a little easy. And but last but not least, when ordinances are adopted, it's nice, okay? But an ordinance is only good to the effect that it gets, that it gets enforced. There's no reason to pass an ordinance and we're just gonna just put it in writing, just put it on paper, and then, you know, just to say, I do, and then when people called to be enforced, people just get ignored. So I think one comes the responsibility and the accountability. One comes with the other ones. So let's adopt an ordinance and let's just make sure that it gets enforced. Let's just start having some accountability on all levels. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Howie Kestenbaum, Hudson Avenue. I was watching this online. I heard a lot of talk about soccer, so I figured I would come down. I actually participate in that ASO program that's been mentioned here. It's been a fixture here of Englewood for many years. Councilman Cobb, I know you've been very helpful over the years with the program. Dr. Wozotsky as well. Just to provide some context for people, Englewood is probably the only town where the recreation department doesn't run any soccer programs, at least in Bergen County or New Jersey that I know of. So a bunch of years ago, a bunch of parents got together and started running a nonprofit volunteer-run soccer program for kids of Englewood, ages 4 through 14, across all 4 wards. Every public school has kids that participate in it, all the private schools that participate in it. Our costs, again, we're a volunteer nonprofit organization. Parents are coaches, kids are referees. We teach them how to play soccer, how to enjoy soccer. We charge a fee a little over $100 just to cover uniforms, just to cover our insurance and cover our equipment. Obviously, the permit fees, if we had to pay that, we'd have to fold the league or else pass it on to parents. Our goal is to teach kids how to play soccer. If parents can't afford it, we provide financial assistance all the way up to free if need be. Because again, our goal is for every kid in Englewood to learn to enjoy and play soccer. So I just want to thank you I hope that helps provide a little context to who we are and what we do. Again, it's really focused for the Englewood kids, and really our goal is to bring everyone together across all wards to play soccer together. Youth sports provides that opportunity, so I just want to thank you for waiving the fees, and hopefully that helps provide some context for people.
Start my time. Al Trusty, 33 Florence Street. Mr. Hoffman, this is for you. Today, I was out. Florence Street looks good. Harney Street looks good. Forest Avenue is not. We're underwater on Forest Avenue. We were there this afternoon when I was coming in. Oh, it was under. We have to get going over there. Right before the railroad tracks, traffic had to turn around because, people just, you're afraid to go through it because, you're going to break down. So that has to be addressed. We're coming up there in the 4th Ward, Councilman. And it looks good. Like Harney Street, we're going to start with this parking situation because there's some people that get to park on Forest Avenue, but then there's other people that cannot. And so it's no parking there anyway. So what are we doing? So De La Rosa, see, I have his number personally. So I want to let you know if you want something for us, De La Rosa will do it. Because he's been calling my phone, texting me, he's been in touch, and that guy's something else. And, I just want to say that. The next thing, excuse that? Well, he's got one because he does what I ask him to do. When I ask him to come, he comes. And that's what I'm talking about, okay? So I can't talk about nothing else, but just what he's doing. So the next thing is, let me see, where was I? Missed it. So we're coming up there. I would like to, because we have this machine now, start to clean these drains out. And the other day, a guy came through and he assessed it, and he said he doesn't have any help. So I want to get this thing going because, Forest Avenue, I'm afraid that this may go further because it'll come back down into Harney Street and all that area will be flooded because it starts right there on Forest Avenue, and I know that for 25 years. So I want to try to get this thing going as much as possible. The next thing I want to say is code enforcement, traffic enforcement came to write tickets. Her car broke down. And this thing, I thought it was going to explode. So we need to get them some wheels so they can get around him because we have enough money because we're spending money on everything else. They can't, she was afraid. Smoking, I said, wait a minute, what's going on here? So I said I would talk about it. Things that have to happen in DPW for us to get things done down here in the 4th Ward. Thank you.
Thank you.
How you doing? Ray Diaz, 408 Shannon. I had a comment about the contractor that you were going to hire to fix the curbs and everything. It's
Yes.
a great idea. Except when the original contractor who did the improvement on Hudson Avenue, on the northwest corner of Hudson and Tenafly Road, they took out the curb. They expanded the catch basin and on both sides. They just tore it out. The grass was stepped on, the whole thing. I kept looking at it, and I was waiting for the contractor to come back and fix it. Well, he never fixed it. So now I'm saying, oh, so now we're gonna hire another contractor to fix what this guy should have fixed or should have repaired in the first place. So that's why I say it's a waste of money. So now I'm questioning is, how about our inspectors? How do you sign off on a contract like that? Who's checking these jobs to make sure that they are 100% completed? This is taxpayers' dollars, and I don't want to waste it. So that's who I'm waiting for. Where are the inspectors who are making sure that they're going to sign off on something? I spoke to Mr. Volsi. He said, yeah, we have a year to wait. But I've been there before. It'll be 5 years. No one will ever fix it. It's going to be like that. Where is the accountability on the inspectors to do their job to make sure we're getting our money's worth? That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Ray.
Lucy Walker, still on Washington Place in Englewood. When we come here, we spend a lot of time, and it's nice that you put the agenda out there for us to read, but the agenda needs some help. If someone had come to observe me as a teacher and I had presented this to the kids, they would have given me a PIP. That's a professional improvement plan. I'm going to give you one right now. Resolutions. This should not be on the back page of one that we just turned. Consent agenda. It should be right under resolution. It would even fit if you made this smaller on the same page. You could say, it will be easier for you and easier for us. I've tore it apart. It's already there. Put it in like that, like a outline. All of it. It fits like that. Easier for us to read. Much easier for us to read and understand. Please, it would save time for you. It would help you in going through the agenda with us. Please. Please. Okay? I don't know who puts this together, but it's very difficult out there. You're seeing people waterlog through it, and it's wasting time. And quite frankly, I'm kind of aggravated when I come in here after trying to find places, and I'm watching people. She couldn't even tell. And once I put it together, she sees now. I mean, it's right there. Very easy. Please, it will help make us so we're not so upset when we come in and deal with you. So whoever puts that together, user friendly. Okay, please, thank you.
I know there's a separation already in the agenda under
I can't even read it. Okay, It will make it easier for all of you. Okay, this is the end of the general session. Do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Oh, I'm sorry. We have to, we're closing the question session.
I just want to make one comment.
Yes.
I just want to make the comment that as a council, and I'm taking the liberty of speaking for the council, we don't condone bigotry or anti-Semitism of any kind.
You condone racism. What about racism?
Bob, do you have answers to some of the questions, please?
Yes, Council President. Let's see. I'll go in reverse. I'll go in reverse chronological order.
The city
So-
manager
so
is
we
speaking.
will. We're not sure what we can do. There are some statutory items with the agenda, but the clerk and I will take a look at it and see what we can do with the agenda. No promises, but we'll take a look. Mr. Diaz had asked a question about who inspects the contractors. So it's a combination. We have two engineering inspectors that go out and do the inspections, and they're also supplemented at times by a consulting engineer, and ultimately it's signed off by Mr. Volsi. So that's part of the way we check. There was questions of Mr. Trustee talked about Forest Avenue. There was flooding. Was that on the west side of Florence of Forest Avenue?
Right before the railroad tracks, so as you approach the railroad.
So the east side.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
It's
Yes.
totally on the
Okay.
west side.
What's that?
West side.
Okay. The that's one of the areas where we're going to be working on next. We have had discussions with one of the property owners over there to get us access, because the flooding in that area is related to the CSX railroad tracks. There are open drains, and as you know, the city does not have access to it, but there are also at least 2 catch basins that are completely silted in on the east side of the railroad tracks, and another 2 on the west side of the railroad tracks. So we have a plan to access those catch basins and those ditches, but that'll take a little more time. But we have had some discussions with at least one of the property owners there. Mr. Katzenbaum, thank you for doing a better job explaining the not-for-profit soccer than I did, so it's appreciated. I just looked and saw that we have done it previously for the last 5 years or so I appreciate that. Dean, 261 West Forest Avenue. I appreciate you coming to the microphone and saying things. You're not completely accurate. You received a letter from me where your taxes are mailed. The construction official reached out to you. You didn't return any phone calls. You went to court and you paid a fine in February of 2022 for not maintaining that property. You told the judge you were going to maintain that property, and you haven't. When the city reached out to you on several occasions, you also missed 10 court dates. So I'm glad that you came up, but I'm a little perplexed at why you said what you said when that's not the facts. You also have a new partner, because your new partner showed up when you didn't contact us. So somehow he got the information, and he showed up at 261 West Palisades Avenue, and he spoke with Walter, and he gave us contact information he said we were supposed to send stuff to him. It's my understanding that the material was brought to a separate place for disposal, but the fact of the matter is the property wasn't maintained. You were supposed to maintain it, you own it, and you didn't do it. So you affected your neighbors, you affected the properties around you. So there's now a lien. If you want to talk to me, you can. We will give you the bill. If you want to pay the bill, then we won't lien your property. But that's what you need to do. Let's see. The answer for Mr. Campbell has to do with the analytics done on the material. We have to get that information from the location where it was disposed of. Let's see, Liberty School RFP. There is work being done on that. There's a meeting coming up with an architect just about some plans for that. Let's see. Ms. Bullock, thank you for some of the suggestions. Those were some of the ideas were also talked about at our committee meeting on Monday, but there were a couple good points in there that we'll make sure we follow up on. And I think that's it.
Okay. Does anyone else have anything?
If I just wanted to respond to Mr. Campbell's question about Harco, yeah, there's been no further discussion or action on that. If something was going to happen, it has to come back here at a work session and, put on the agenda, but nothing's happened on that in months, so.
I move to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
Second.
By unanimous, everybody? Yes? Okay, meeting adjourned.
Y'all bring those emails where you and your people wanted to vacuum the air out of my room, Lisa. Did you want to talk bigotry?